Mr. Hat, may I please be excused from class?
Well, Kyle.
Yes.
You hear me? You got it.
Hack.
You got it.
Hack.
You did.
Have a great day. Hello everybody and welcome. This is the Shy Hat and we are HackerFrogs. Alright everybody, today we're going to be putting on a little bit of a stream and we're going to be going over two major topics today. The first topic is going to be going over extra practice for our web app hacking course. This is for the second workshop and it's going to cover HTTP headers as well as local file inclusion. So that's going to be the first hour of our stream, and in the second hour of our stream, we're going to be covering historical hacks in a segment called Hacking History. So the historical hacks we're going to be going over today include the Equifax data breach of 2017, as well as the blaster worm. I don't quite remember when the blaster worm happened. It was sometime in the early 2000s, to the best of my recollection, but let's go over what we're going to be doing in the first half, which is the over-the-wire. Sorry, we're not going over the wire. We're doing picoCTF. We're going to be going over some picoCTF challenges in order to better understand the contents of our workshop from Monday. Okay, so what we did was we looked at the following concepts. We looked at directory indexing. So this, not directory indexing. We looked at HTTP referrer headers. The HTTP referrer header, which is misspelled on purpose, contains the value of a complete or partial address of the web page that is making the request. So this HTTP header is often used for analytics or logging, but it's occasionally used by web app developers as a security mechanism, but this is not a good practice because it was never intended to be used in such a way. We also talked about the HTTP cookie header. HTTP cookies are commonly used as a security mechanism that allows users to maintain an authenticated user session on a website. So this is a legitimate way that websites use to keep users in an active session. So when you log into a website, the website will assign you a cookie, and your web browser will use that cookie whenever it makes a connection to that website in order for the web application to understand who you are as far as your user account information is concerned. So without HTTP cookies, we wouldn't be able to have such functions such as logging into a website. So they're very important. So HTTP cookies allow users to log into websites, but since cookie values can be modified by the user, proper care should be taken to ensure that valid cookie values are not predictable or easily guessed. So in any case where cookie values that are created are predictable or somehow easily guessed, so what is a valid cookie and what is not a valid cookie, that is a big problem. So we'll be seeing how in other challenges that we're covering today. So we also talked about local file inclusion. Let me take a look at, so we're talking about local file inclusion. So this is a web app vulnerability. It's also known as directory traversal or path traversal. And it's a web app vulnerability where arbitrary local web server files can be accessed through a web interface. So basically what local file inclusion is that users are able to read any file on the web server, not just the files that are intended for regular users to the website. So LFI vulnerabilities can lead to sensitive data exposure and can also be used as the first step in a chain of exploits. For example, if you were to encounter a web app that had local file inclusion, you might be able to read sensitive files on the web server that might have user credentials, maybe usernames and passwords, and use that to somehow break into the web server that is hosting the web app. So the inclusion of file names and URL parameters is a typical method through which a potential LFI vulnerability is identified. So if you see in this URL right here, there is a URL parameter right here, which is denoted by the question mark over here. And there is a parameter, which includes a key, which is page over in this case, and home as the value. So if you ever to see something like this and the name of the URL parameter seems to point at something that could be a file on the web server, then this is an indication that local file inclusion might be present on this web app. So we also talked a little bit about local file inclusion and the file system structure. So in a lot of cases, the web application is not working in the top level directory of a web server. It's usually working many layers below that. So in the case of the Natus example, where we took advantage of the Natus 7 web app's local file inclusion exploit, we had to navigate up several levels in the file system in order to take advantage of the local file inclusion exploit. So let's start our practice by going over to the picoCTF website. If you're not logged into the picoCTF website, I'll give everybody an opportunity to do so now. So it's going to be, so please log into this page over at the picoCTF website. So it's going to be play.picoctf.org. that's assuming that you have an account over at picoCTF. If you don't have an account over at picoCTF, it's not very difficult to create one. So go ahead and make your account, and then you can follow along with our exercises today. All right, so let's navigate to our first picoCTF exercise of the day. And I've got a list of different ones for today. And it's going to be this one called log on. So I'm going to paste the link for this challenge in the chat in case you want to join along with us. And I will also navigate to this page as well. Okay, so we've got this page, this challenge right here. It's called Log On. This is an easy web exploitation challenge from the picoCTF 2019 event. And in its description it says, the factory is hiding things from all of its users. Can you log in as Joe and find what they've been looking for? And included in the challenge description is a link that leads to the vulnerable website that we need to check out. All right, so I will include the link for this website in the chat. And we will navigate to that website ourselves. All right, so it says factory login. We have a username and password fields for us to fill in. So if we were to use test as the username and test as the password, and we click on sign in, let's make this a little smaller just so we can get a sense of what the full web page looks like. If we were to click on sign in, it says success, you logged in, not sure you'll be able to see the flag though. And the field over here says no flag for you. Okay, so how can we potentially get the flag in this instance? So we can rely on our previous experience doing web app hacking testing. And we could look at the source code for this particular page. Control U is the keyboard shortcut. So over here it says category success green, info blue, warning yellow, danger red. Okay, that's in the comment right there. Let me resize this so that it looks a little bit better. And inside of, there's not too much to see here, but there is this this little function right here that creates an alert. All right, so we can, another thing we could do potentially is we could try to look at the robots.txt file for the website, but I don't think that's going to help in this case. So factory login, let's take a look at the challenge description again. It says, can you log in as Joe and find out what they've been looking at? So the question here is, so the detail that we should be paying attention to is this right here, where we have to log in as Joe. So let's try that. So let's sign out and then try to sign back in again. So we're going to try to sign in as Joe, and the password, we don't know the password, so we're just going to put in test as the password and then click on sign in. Okay, it says, I'm sorry, Joe's password is super secure. You're not getting in that way. All right, so I guess we could just log in as test again and then use test as the password. So it says that you're logged in, not sure you'll be able to see the flag. All right, so one thing that can identify what user we're working as is by taking a look at cookies. So what we can do in the web browser is we can go over to the options button over here, these three dots, and then go over and browse down to more tools, and then click on developer tools. Okay, so developer tools here. From here we can take a look at the application tab, and in the application tab there's local storage, and in local storage there is a section for this web page right here. So we can click on it and we see, well, we don't see anything in particular. So local storage, no, maybe we can look at session storage. So in session storage for for this website. Okay, so there's nothing here, but there's also this this tab over here for cookies. So cookies. All right, so we have cookies here. So we've got a password test, username test, so we can change this. Because cookies are modifiable by the user inside of the web browser, we can move over here and first of all, we can change, so there's an admin cookie as well, and this is set to false. Why don't we set this one to true? And as well, there's a username, and we can switch the username from test to Joe. So we can double click on this and we can make this Joe. And now we've activated admin. We've switched it from false to true, and we've switched our username from test to Joe. So let's try reloading this page now that we've inputted these cookies. All right, I'm going to close this, and then we're going to reload this page. So, okay, so now that we reloaded the page, we can see the flag contents. So the flag contents here are picoCTF, the conspiracy lives. All right, so we can copy the value of the flag, and then we can go back to the picoCTF challenge page. And in the challenge page, we can go down to the flag submission field, paste in our flag, and then click on submit flag. And we are done. All right, so that challenge required us to modify some cookies. All right, so we can also click back into the challenge, and then we can upvote the challenge. So we can show a little appreciation for the challenge makers, click on upvote, and we can click off of the challenge. So the other thing we can do is we can access the web page in this challenge using curl. So when we access the web page using curl, Notes by Nisha, welcome to the stream, Notes by Nisha, and nice to see you here again. Yeah, so here we're manipulating cookies, and we're getting flags and stuff. We can copy this URL, and then we can go over to our command prompt, and in the command prompt we can access the page using curl. So curl is the command line interface web content tool, I guess you can call it. So we can paste in this, and when we give the curl command over here, we can give it with the $V flag for very verbose. So we're going to get very verbose content when we're trying to access this page. And in fact, this is not the page we want to access using curl, but actually we want to access this page right here. So we can copy this URL, and then we can go back to our console, and we can paste in that page, and I'll include the link for this page. So if we were to access this page, okay, maybe I don't know what I'm doing here. So disabled automatic use of client certificate. Okay, so all right. So it's this. There's a problem here because we're trying to access an HTTPS page, and for some reason, okay, and it does say give us a cookie over here. So this cookie is not quite the cookie we're looking for in this case. GoPro Slowyo has given us a raid with 21 members. Welcome to the stream, everybody from GoPro Slowyo's stream. What were you all working on? And we've got some follows coming in. Dark Elder is now a HackerFrog. Congratulations and welcome to the club. Welcome in, guys. We're working on some, and we've got Show Marka is now a HackerFrog. Welcome. We're working on some picoCTF challenges today, and we're going over the web-oriented ones that have to do with. And Pure Cipher is now a HackerFrog. Welcome. All right, so wow, everybody, welcome to the stream, and the keyboard sounds satisfying to bang on. Okay, Agent 57 says you got my cookie, buddy. Oh, I've got a number of cookies. We're just finishing up HTB Intelligence, Hack the Box Intelligence. Is that a seasonal box, or is that one of the retired machines? But I just want to say, everybody, we should hack the planet. And I hope that goes through.
Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Shut up again!
All right, so it's about time that we moved on to a new challenge. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to move on to our next challenge today. And the next challenge is going to be called Get Ahead. So I'm going to link the chat, the challenge. If you're not logged into picoCTF, it's SJ. Oh, you need to spell redeem properly, GoPro. Not to call you out on it. Ronan redeemed. Hi, I'm new. Hi, Ronan. How are you? And this is these are my favorite birds. These are Stellar Jays. Okay, so let's solve the next challenge. This one is called Get Ahead. So this challenge here, it's an easy web exploitation challenge from picoCTF 2021. And the description says, find the flag being held on the server to get ahead of the competition. Okay, so it also has a website over here. I'm going to link the website for everybody to look at. Okay, GoPro Slowyo says, afraid to raid and run, heading up for a short hike. Have fun, love y'all. Thank you very much for raiding GoPro Slowyo. I'm going to shout out GoPro's channel. I think this is how you do it. Okay, so I think it's /shoutout. /shoutout. Okay, let me try that again. And we're gonna go GoPro Slowyo. All right. What were you doing? Okay, we were looking at the web page. All right, so over in our web browser, we're going to navigate to the web page in question, and there are two buttons on the web page here. There is one that is choose red, and there's one that's choose blue. So if we were to click on choose red, then nothing really happens. But if we choose blue, I guess this is something that that adjusts the color of the background. All right, so what could we do to try to investigate, to try to test this website right here? Does anybody in the chat have any suggestions? So of course we could try to look at robots.txt to see if this page exists. Of course, this does not exist on the server. It's fine. We could also take a look at the source code by using the Control-U keyboard shortcut. So there's a post method over here that submits, and the value is equal to choose blue. So I guess when you click on the button, this sends a post request. But when you click on another button, it sends it as a GET request. So an important thing to understand about this challenge is that we're dealing with some different HTTP methods that we're sending to this particular web page. So let's go back. And let's take a look at the name of this challenge over here. So the name of the challenge here is Get Ahead. So get is an HTTP method, and head is another HTTP method. So what were to happen if we were to send, so we see in this page that there's a button that sends a post request, and there's a button that sends a get request over here. But what happens if we send a head request to this particular web page? So usually, so this is where we would use our curl command. So, but I'm not super familiar with curl, so I could ask ChatGPT, and In fact, I do ask ChatGPT quite often how to use certain flags with some programs, because I'm not exactly a walking encyclopedia for using curl. So I would ask, using the curl command, how do we send a head request to a web page? Okay, so we ask this question, and it says to send a head request to a web page using curl, you can use the I flag. Okay, so we just need to send our curl request with I, and that should be a head request. So let's try that. So over in our console, so we're going to do, I'm going to clear CLS to clear, and then we're going to do curl and then -I, capital I, and then we're going to get the web page. So the web page is still in the chat, so I'm going to copy it from there. Very convenient. And then we're going to paste in the web page, and then we're going to fire this off. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this very verbose, just so that we get a little bit more information than we would normally. Okay, so we send this, and then these are all of the HTTP headers that we send in the request. And then this is the response right here. So it says request completely sent off. We get the HTTP 1.1 OK 200 code, and then we get the flag. So the flag over here says reject the duality. So the duality in this case is referring to HTTP requests. So the most common HTTP request is GET, and the second most common one is POST. And this is rejecting the duality because we're choosing the third option, which is the head HTTP. What is that word? Verb, I guess. Verb or okay, so we can copy this flag right here, and we can go over to the we can go over to the picoCTF webpage. So this is the challenge webpage. We have the flag, and we can paste this in right over here as the answer, submit the flag, and we are done. So afterwards, to show a little bit of appreciation, Ronan says, nice, easy. Yeah. Well, I mean, as soon as you realize that the answer is in the name of the challenge itself, then it becomes quite easy. All right, so we can upvote the challenge just to show some appreciation for the challenge makers. I find myself more and more appreciative of people creating challenges. So it's nice to show them a little bit of love. So Notes by Nisha says they provided a hint. They get ahead of the competition. Yes, that's true. That's true. Okay, so if you're ever stuck on any of these challenges and you're having trouble, you can always click on some of the hints over here. So they've got two hints in this case. One, it says maybe you have more than two choices, and that's referencing the web page. So on the web page, there are two choices. There's a button that is choose red, and that is the get method. And then there's the other method that is choose blue, and that sends a post request over here. So that was that challenge. And the second hint for this challenge is check out tools like Burp Suite to modify your requests and look at the responses. So you don't necessarily need to use Burp Suite in order to do these challenges. Some of the later, more difficult challenges, you definitely would benefit from using something like Burp Suite, but the easy challenges are usually okay without using tools like Burp Suite. Okay, so let's move on to our next challenge. So our next challenge is going to be called Forbidden Paths. So that's a very dramatic name, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat. So everybody, if you're solving the challenges along with us, please type it's web time in chat with some smiley faces, and just just for fun, let's redeem another one of our little videos, and I'm going to redeem the Frog song. So this is a fun little chiptune song that I found. Okay. All right, so let me navigate to the next challenge. This one is Forbidden Paths. This is an easy web exploitation challenge from picoCTF 2022. Let's see. For the get ahead, I had to use my own link. Oh, so they weren't letting you use flags from anybody else's challenges. That's interesting. So please bear in mind that for picoCTF, a lot of the time you're going to have to use your own. You have to submit your own flags, and when you create these challenges, they're going to individualize the web servers that they spin up for you, or the websites that you wouldn't let you use the flag that was generated with my URL. Yeah, that's become quite common for picoCTF now. They're taking cheating a lot more seriously. So if for some reason you have Apis Carnica says hello, hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well too, Apis Carnica. I haven't seen you streaming in a while, but I'll be sure to check out your stream the next time I see you on. But welcome to the stream. And we're doing Forbidden Paths, this challenge over on picoCTF. And make sure to use your own links. So I should probably not provide direct links to the challenges for everybody to use. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, so what does the description say? Can you get the flag? We know that the website files live in this directory right here, and the flag is at /flag.txt, but the website is filtering absolute file paths. Can you get past the filter and read the flag? Additional details will be available after launching your challenge instance. So everybody, let's launch our own challenge instance by clicking on the button here. And that's going to create a virtual machine that hosts the website that we need to take a look at. So after our instance has started up, it'll have our time remaining, and it's going to be about 15 minutes. At this point, there will be a link to a website. I will not be linking the website in the chat because it should be individualized to each one of us users. Ronan says, it's web time. Yes, it is. It's web time. Okay, so we're going to navigate to the website, and I'm going to put this in a new tab, and I'm going to get rid of some of these other tabs just to stay a little cleaner with our browser tabs. Oh, that was the one we wanted. Okay, I'm going to reopen it. Okay, so this one is Web eReader, and it's got a list of different files. So this has a bunch of different files as well as a file name field. And let's do test. And let's click on read. And it says file does not exist. Okay, so we can go back. And how would we, does anybody in chat have a suggestion as to how to tackle the challenge? I would very much appreciate if anybody in chat has some suggestions. Because we're all here to learn together. If anybody has any suggestions as to how to enumerate, how to test this website right here, I'm open to any suggestions. So we can take a look and see if there's a robots.txt, and there is not. And the type of web server is revealed in this error message right here. It's running Nginx. We can go back. So we can also take a look at Agent 57 asked, shall we test for command injection? Okay, so we could test for command injection in this case. Typically, we could test for command injection by doing the semicolon over here to end whatever command is being sent. And then we could do cat, or we could ask who am I? and then we can use the hash to comment out anything that's coming up. And we can give this command, and it says file does not exist. Okay. So we could also just try to read something that's listed on the page already. So we could type this in and then click on read. Okay, and it seems that that this file does exist inside of the web page. So inside of the file system rather. So it seems that that files that exist inside of the web server are directly being referenced. And Agent 57 says, so we get LFI. So I think this challenge does involve LFI. So the question is, if we want to use LFI, local file inclusion, to solve this challenge, and we know that there are these details right here. So we know that the website files live at this directory right here. So we know that we're working from this directory right here. And we also know that the flag is at the top level directory at flag.txt. But the website is filtering absolute file paths. Can you get past the filter to read the flag? So how would we do our local file inclusion attack to access flag.txt? So do you remember? So Ronan says, got the password. So if you got the password, you should be able to easily get the flag.txt. So if you can get that, you can get this file right here. And this is the file path to get it. So what is the what do we do to go up in the file tree? So we use this little trick right here. So it is .. .. and then it is flag.txt. Agent 57 has it right. So it is notice minutia is it's not quite it, but it's close. It's close. So we do the .. We have to do it several times. We have to do it once to get up into the file tree. So we have to do it 1, 2, 3, at least 4. I think 4 times in order to get the flag.txt in this case. So over on the web page, so we would do .. 4 times, I think. So 4 times, and then we access flag.txt. So this should solve the challenge over here. Everybody had everybody got it correct. Okay, so we were able to read the file. So it's picoCTF, the path to success. So your flag is going to be individualized. So just use the file path that Agent 57 provided in chat, and you should be good. You just need to omit I think you need to omit the single quotes in that case. But we can go over to the description, the challenge description, and then go down to the bottom, and then click on the flag submission panel, click on submit flag, and then we're done. Okay, so click back in, and then click on upvote for the challenge. So you can read all sorts of other files, not just the flag, but we can also we can also read the password. So password dot, so etc password, I think it is. So etc/password, and then click on read. So maybe it won't let us read that. Okay, site can't be reached. I guess, oh, they shut this down after we input the flag. Let's launch this again. Right. So Ronan's correct. We submitted the flag, and that's why we weren't able to access the website anymore. So I'm going to access the website again, and I'm going to read some other files. So this file right here is the typical file that we test when we're looking for local file inclusion, because this is a publicly readable file, and it also gives us information about what users are available on the web server system. So if we were to read this, we get root, and we get all the other system all the other service accounts over here, and we see that there are no real users on the system with an SSH like login, for example. Nobody seems to have like a home directory as well, aside from the root user. So that's local file inclusion in picoCTF. All right, so let's move on to the next challenge. So the next challenge is going to be, so I'm going to click off of this, and we're going to do Power Cookie. Okay, so this next challenge is called Power Cookie, and the link for it is just over here. Okay, so Agent 57 says they started this week in retail general store, so they're on their way to cybersecurity job. Hey, congratulations, Agent 57. All right, so Ronin1 says why this doesn't work. So the flag is not in that directory. So Ronin submitted a file path that is user share nginx html flag.txt. So the flag doesn't exist there. They told us in challenge description that the flag.txt file is at the top level directory. So if you get rid of the rest of the path, the user share nginx html, then you should be good. Okay, so let me access the Power Cookie challenge. Okay, so this is Power Cookie. It's an easy web exploitation challenge from picoCTF 2022, and it has the tag cookie over here. So we should be paying attention to cookies, and as long as we're paying attention to HTTP cookies, we should be able to finish this challenge. So the description says, can you get the flag? Additional details will be available after launching your challenge instance. So let's do that. We click on launch instance. I really appreciate that the picoCTF virtual machines, they spin up so quickly. All right, so then a website link appears, so you definitely want to put that in another tab and go to this website and see what you can discover. All right, so we can go over to the website. It says online gradebook, continue as guest. Okay, so maybe we can take a look at the HTTP source for this particular page, and it looks like there's a button and then on click continue as guest button. Okay, so there's a function for this particular click on the button, and there's also a source file over here which is guest.js. So guest.js is probably connected to continue as guest, and is probably the source of this function right here. So we probably want to take a look at this, so we can open this in a new tab. So window location H reference is /check.php, document cookie is admin equals 0. So is admin equals 0 is something we want to change if that is a cookie we're being assigned. So let's test this out. So on the page, we can click on continue as guest, and it says we apologize, but we have no guest services at the moment. So seeing as this is a cookie challenge, how should we proceed? So because this is so Ronin says F12. Okay, so if we were to do F12, then we arrive at our developer tools. Okay, I actually didn't know that keyboard shortcut Ronin. Thank you very much for telling me about that. Because what I was going to suggest is going over to this menu and navigating to it the old-fashioned way. But this is very good. Okay, so we've got cookies over here. So we're in the application tab over here, and inside of cookies, we can click on the website, and we see that we only have one cookie, and the cookie's name is admin, and the value is 0. Of course, this being a cookies challenge, we can definitely change the value from 0 to 1. So 0 is programming speak for false, and 1 is programming speak for true. So we can go over to the value, switch it over to 1, press enter, and then we can reload the page. So after we've reloaded the page, it's going to use this cookie instead of the one we had before. So reload the page, and we have our cookie. Sorry, we have our flag. Okay, so picoCTF, grade A cookie, and this part is probably individualized for each user. Simply highlight the flag, copy it, and we can use that to submit as the answer. So go over to picoCTF, the web page, and then go down to the flag submission field, click on submit flag, and you're done. All right, so I think we only have a couple of more challenges to go over today, but the last challenge is difficult. Not really difficult, more like tedious, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so click back into the Power Cookie Challenge and click on the upload button over here. And then we're going to move on to our second last challenge of the night. And this one is called Cookies. So that's an original name. The link is in the chat. And let's navigate to this page. Okay, so this is a challenge. It's an easy web exploitation challenge from picoCTF 2021. And the description says, who doesn't love cookies? Try to figure out the best one. And it has an address right here. We will open this up in a new tab, and let's take a look. So I remember this is a slightly tricky challenge as well. So let's take a look at the web page. So it says, welcome to my cookie search page. See how much I like different kinds of cookies. Okay, so what can we do on this page? So let's take a look real quick at the HTTP source for this page with the Control-U keyboard shortcut. Okay, and this is a bunch of stuff that is not relevant to the challenge. And then there is a button over here. Wait, is this a button? So success, green, info, blue, warning, yellow, danger, red. So this probably has to do with HTTP status codes, as in the 200 status code, the 400 status code, etc. And so input, name, ID. Okay, so we've got snickerdoodle, and then we've got submit. So there's this submit button. I guess this is the search button over here. Value equals search. Okay, so this doesn't, we also have a script over here. So click function, my alert, dot alert close. This is probably the function that is being referenced here probably exists on another page. So on the page we can click test. We can type test and then click search, and then there is a error message over here. It says that it doesn't appear to be a valid cookie. Okay, so like the last challenge, we probably want to pay attention to what cookies are sent along with this page. So Ronin1 told us that we can use the F12 keyboard shortcut to access the application cookies. So application panel, tab rather, and then cookies here. So we've got a name equal to -1. Okay, so because the value of the cookie is a numeric value, we can probably do some iteration over here. So -1 is probably an invalid cookie. So we can switch the value over to 0, and then we can reload the page. Let me resize this a little bit. Okay, so we reload the page after we switch the value over to 0. So if you all want to race me to the flag, go ahead and try testing on your own. And if you're able to get the answer before I do, then you are a cool person. Okay, so reload the page, and it says, I love snickerdoodle cookies. So probably the snickerdoodle cookie is associated with the value 0. That's a cookie, not very special though. Okay, so we can switch the value to 1 and try again. And then now it says, I love chocolate chip cookies. And then we can try again with this next one. I love oatmeal raisin cookies. So we can just keep on iterating through this. So this is kind of like an IDOR, indirect message reference, indirect object reference kind of vulnerability as well, because we're able to get different information from the app by guessing at different values that we think might be valid. So number 3, I love ginger snap cookies, and then we can try number 4 and shortbread. I'm just going to do this quickly so we're not sitting here all day. Peanut butter. Whoopie pie cookies. I've never heard of that. Okay. Sugar cookies. Molasses cookies. I think I've solved this challenge before, and I think the correct value is number 13, but I'll just try all the values over here to be thorough about this. Butter cookies. Spritz cookies. Snowball cookies. Okay, it wasn't 13. So if anybody is experimenting and gets the flag, please tell us what the correct value is over here. Thumbprint cookies. Pinwheel cookies. Wafer cookies. Oh, okay. So this is number 18. Okay, so everybody loves cookies is the flag over here, and I think the value is 18. So you go ahead and use the value 18 for your cookie value, and then reload the page, and you should get the flag over here. All right, so picoCTF, everybody loves cookies, copy that, and then go over to the challenge page and paste in the flag, submit it, and you are done. So that was cookies. Click on upvote for this particular challenge, and we're going to move on to our last challenge of the day, and that challenge is called Who Are You? So everybody, if you managed to finish the cookies challenge, please type who doesn't like cookies in chat, and if you're in Twitch, you can use the OS frog emote as well. Okay, so the last challenge of the day, this one is a doozy of a challenge, and I will link it in chat now. Okay, so the page is, the challenge is here. It is called Who Are You? This is still considered an easy challenge from picoCTF 2021, and Notes by Nisha says, who doesn't like cookies? And included a cookie emote. That's a nice little touch. Okay, so this is going to be the last challenge for the session, so let's hype ourselves up with the asking, is this a hacking?
Is this a hacking?
So if anybody recognizes this meme, go ahead and type the meme's the thing in chat. All right, so the challenge description says, let me in, and it has a little URL for us to follow. So put that in a new tab. And it says here, only people who use the official Pico browser are allowed on this site. and it has this little video over here. It says, "Wait a minute, who are you?" Okay, so does anybody have any idea what this particular app is? Karnika says lol, and I also say lol. Does anybody know what the solution could be for this particular problem? It says only people who use the official Pico browser are allowed on this site. So remember what we learned in the workshop from Monday, if you were here. So, and that's going to be your answer. Only people who use the official Pico browser. So, okay, Show Marca says user agent. Okay, we can definitely try that. So, unfortunately, we're using Google Chrome, and in Google Chrome you can't easily modify your HTTP headers when you're sending requests to web pages, but we can use curl. So over here on our user prompt, we can use the curl command. So we can curl, and we can copy our website, and then we can, we can paste in our website over here, and we can give ourselves some very verbose output, and then we can use the I think it's capital H for header. Oh, no. Okay, so I'm reading my notes, and it's the A for it's the capital A for user agent, and after that we can put in the name of our user agent. And remember, the web page says only people who use the official Pico browser are allowed on this site. So what you can do is you can copy this Pico browser, the name of this user agent right here, and then we can paste that in as our user agent. So user agent is the type of web browser. So when we send this request, we're saying that we are using the Pico browser, web browser, in our request. But we're really not. We're using curl, but that's fine. We can modify our HTTP header to say that we're using Pico browser. And when we fire this off, it's going to send us the same web page essentially. So we see here that inside of our HTTP headers, we have this here, user agent Pico browser. And if we go down, I don't want to look at this video constantly, so I'm going to click off of that. Okay, so we can. Where is the? Okay, so here it says we've got a new error message. So the new error message says, "I don't trust users visiting from another site." So which HTTP header do we think we need to modify in this case? Visiting from another site? Okay, Ronan says same origin. So same origin, that could be. How do we modify the value of the same origin header so that it recognizes that the request is coming in from the same website? So we need to make sure that our curl command is the same, only that we have to include a new. So maybe we could ask ChatGPT. I actually, when I was solving this challenge originally, I asked a lot of questions to ChatGPT about this. So using curl, how would we indicate that we are sending a request from the same website? Okay, so it says So we're using the referrer header. Okay, so what we could do is we could give the referrer header and then give the same website as the referrer. So it's -h referrer, and then we give the same website. So how do we do that? Inside of curl, it is -h, and then it is referrer, and then we give the same website that we're coming from. So we can copy this over here and use this as the value. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it. Okay, so I'm going to provide this this command in the chat. Of course, you're going to need to modify it because the your instance is probably not going to be the same as my instance. So we're going to try this one over here. Okay, so we have a new error message, and it says, sorry, this site only worked in 2018. So now we have to modify the date that is we have to modify the date of the request so that it says 2018. So, but how do we do that? So so we can also include the date in a header, and this is how you include the date in a header. And the date is going to be, the header is just going to be date, and then we have to use this format right here. So we could probably get the, do we have the date header? No, the date header is not standard. Okay. So I'm gonna give everybody an example date header. So I'm just copying this. So don't think that I'm too clever here. So it's gonna be Thursday, and then 08. Wait, what is the date today? So the day is 17 July. And we're gonna make sure that this is 2018. And then we're going to provide a time. So we have to provide a time in this format. And this is, we're going to say Greenwich Mean Time, because this works for me. Date 2018. Oh, okay. So you don't need to provide the entire date. You just need to provide, you guys need to do date 2018. Okay, cool. But yeah, we've got the full date over here, and let's send this request off. Okay, and it says, I don't trust users who can be tracked. Okay, so next we need to modify our HTTP header so that we cannot be tracked. So of course we could probably ask ChatGPT, is there a header? So is there an HTTP header that indicates that we cannot be tracked? Okay, so our good old chatbot says the HTTP header that is used to indicate that you prefer not to be tracked, and the header is called DNT, do not track, and we have to set a value, and the value over here is 1. Ronin1 says, nice CTF for headers. Well, you definitely do have to do a lot of research about different HTTP headers for this particular challenge. So we can just include this portion right here, copy that, and then go back to our curl command, and we can include this. I'm just going to paste it in. So we're including so many headers already. So this one is do not track 1 as their new header, along with all of our previous ones, and we can send this off. Okay, and the next the next challenge is this website is only for people from Sweden. So here we have to prove that we're from Sweden inside of our HTTP request. So the question here is, how do we, okay, I'm going to say yes, this is a useful conversation. Get rid of this. Okay, so how would we indicate that, I need to spell that, indicate that we are from Sweden in our HTTP header? Okay, so to indicate that you're from Sweden, you could use the accept language header. The header tells the server which languages you prefer in your response. To specify Swedish, you can set the accept language and set the header to SV. Ronan also suggests the location HTTP header. I haven't seen the location HTTP header before, but you could give that a try as well. But so it's accept language SV. Let's give this a go. So copy that and then back to our curl command. And in front, we're going to paste in our accept language SV for Swedish. Only for people from Sweden. That's not very accepting. Okay, so anyways, let's pretend we're from Sweden. Okay, and it still says this website is only for people from Sweden. So obviously we've done something wrong. Is SV the correct? Okay, so accept language SV. Okay, I'm going to ask ChatGPT if is there another syntax for the accept language header for Swedish? Okay, so we could try this alternate right here as well, SV equals SE. So indicate Swedish as spoken in Sweden. So that might be what it's looking for. So back over to here, we just need to add SE to the end of this, and then we're going to fire this off again. Huh, this doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes now, and it seems that it wants this particular string. So it's SV-SE and then comma SV. So I'm not too sure where I got that last time, but that seems to be the answer for this one. So let's send this one off. And it says the same thing. What did I wonder what's wrong in this case. So we have our accept language header over here, and everything else should be the same. Okay, so I'll ask ChatGPT if there's anything else we could try. So multiple regions. Oh, okay. SV and SVE are specified to cover general Swedish and Swedish spoken in Sweden. So we could try switching the order around. So this is the opposite order of what I have. So let's switch the order around and see if it makes a difference. Let me double check. So SV, and maybe the comma, I need a space after the comma. Okay, let's fire that off. Only for people from Sweden. Accept language. Did I not spell this correctly? Okay, so I've got the header from my notes. I'm just going to copy the header from my notes and see if it works in this case. And I'll fire this off. So it doesn't want to let us through. So I'm going to go over to the challenge page, and I'm going to click on hints. So it's not much, but here's an RFC. So this is a list of standards for HTTP headers. So I'm just I guess I can put this in a new tab, and I will leave the link in chat. So I'm going to look for location in this document. Content location, location, location. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, is there a location HTTP header? There's no specific location HTTP header, it says. So, for example, some APIs might use custom headers like X user location or similar. X user location. Well, we could give this a go. Okay, I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to try this one in my command. And fire this off. Only for people from Sweden. Still saying this. So to anybody else who's attempting the challenge, if you have any luck with anything else, please tell us, because currently I do not have a solution for this. So let's do a little more digging with ChatGPT. SV, providing multiple language preferences. Let's try this one right here. Copy this and back to our paste this in. SV-SE. Okay, so I've included all this, and I can fire this off. It's still only for people from Sweden. Okay, so at this point, I might actually just look for a walkthrough for this particular challenge, just to see what we're doing wrong. Let's see, picoCTF, let me in, or who are you? "2018 tracked people from Sweden." Oh, this is interesting. It's looking for this is not looking for, okay. This is looking for people with an IP address in Sweden. This is looking for people who are, okay. All right. So it's not looking for this particular, okay. So let's ask ChatGPT what HTTP header can be used to impersonate an IP listed in Sweden. Okay, so to impersonate an IP address in HTTP headers, you can use the exported for header. So this header is commonly used to identify the originating IP address of the client. So we could do exported for Swedish IP address in this case. So replace Swedish IP address with an actual IP address from Sweden. Okay, so this, I don't think this is an IP address from Sweden. And I think I do have an example of an IP address from Sweden. So what is a typical IP address from Sweden? Okay, so it's got a bunch of these IP addresses right here. Let's copy any one of these, and then we can use this in our command. Okay, so this one is going to be header, and it's going to be exported forwarded for. And then we're going to include this IP address. So, okay. So exported for, this is the header we're looking for. And then we send this one off. And then it says, okay, so we actually got the flag with this one. It says, HTTP headers, very cool, much wow. Okay, so we managed to get there eventually. So copy the flag. If anybody wants, so, okay, I'm going to provide the, this is a long curl command. But if you want an example of what we use to solve the challenge, this is it in the chat. Of course, you're going to need to substitute your own picoCTF webpage instead of this one. And this is the flag right here, HTTP headers. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to use this to submit. Copy this. Hawker is now a HackerFrog. Welcome to the stream, Hawker. And let's give you a redeem. And this one is going to be, who are you? So, oh, I'm Root. So we've finished our last challenge for the night.
I'm System Root.
Okay, so we go back to the challenge and we paste this in and submit, and it is done. Okay, so let's click upvote on this challenge to show appreciation. Although this was a heck of a challenge. Required a lot of searching around. Okay. Cool. All right, so that's the end of today's challenges. If you enjoyed today's challenges, well, we have a bunch of web application workshops that we're doing every week. Over at HackerFrogs. If you want to take a look at the HackerFrogs Reddit, it is just over here in the following link. And we usually have a schedule of what we're doing for the week. For example, today is Wednesday, and Ronan said the last one was fun. If by frustrating you mean fun, yes, it was. It was definitely challenging. Yeah, and it required us to do quite a bit of research to pull off. But we usually have a schedule with what we're doing for the week. We usually stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And Mondays and Wednesdays we start at 4 p.m. PST, which is 7 p.m. EST. And on Fridays we're usually doing a box walkthrough. This week we're going to be doing Try Hack Me's Tom Ghost Room, and that's going to be starting at 8 p.m. PST, 11 p.m. EST. And we usually have a primary topic and a secondary topic. Today we're going to be switching over to our secondary topic in just a bit. We're going to be talking about hacking history. So we're going to be talking about some historical big hacks. Today we're talking about the Equifax data breach and the blaster worm. So with that said, we're going to move on to the secondary portion of the stream. I'm going to turn on the music just so we have a little bit more of a chill vibe. And I'm going to adjust the volume a bit. Okay, and I need to change up my my stream titles over here. So this top one is going to say Equifax / blaster worm. And hopefully that fits. Does it fit? It fits. Nice. Okay, so this is Equifax and the blaster worm. We're going to be talking about 2 historical hacks. And the bottom, I'm going to give this the label of hacking history. All right, so everybody, this is hacking history, and the hacking history portion of the stream, we're going to be referencing some files that we have over on GitHub. So the HackerFrogs GitHub is located over here. I'm providing the link in chat. And this is hacking history, so let's go over to this. And we're going to be editing this file right here. This is called Equifax. So the Equifax hack happened back in 2017, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be researching this topic and learning all about it. Does anybody here know loosely about what the Equifax hack dealt with? If you know, go ahead and type in chat. And if you have any comments or questions about what we're researching today, please let us know in the chat, and we'll try to address the questions or comments the best we can. So I've got a little website called LLM Arena, and LLM Arena lets you compare the answers from different LLMs. So I'll provide the link in chat. And the great thing about this is that you can ask 2 different LLM bots at the same time. So you can ask your question and you can get 2 different answers over here. So I'm going to go to this section right here, which is Arena side by side. And this is going to let you choose which chatbots to ask. So in this case, Claude Sonnet is a very respected chatbot, and we're also going to go with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is where in this list? GPT 4.0. That's the other chatbot. So Chat A is going to be the Claude chatbot, and the second window is going to be ChatGPT. So first of all, we're going to be Googling and looking at a lot of web available sources for this. So if you feel like this is not the proper way to do research, then I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is what's available to us right now, and we're not exactly doing super scholarly research on the topic. We're just searching around to find the answers. So this one is the Equifax breach, and I think in Wikipedia it's called the Equifax data breach. Okay, so let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so what is the Equifax data breach? Well, The Equifax data breach occurred between May and July 2017 at the American credit bureau Equifax. Private records of 147.9 million Americans, along with 15.2 million British citizens and about 19,000 Canadian citizens, were compromised in the breach, making it one of the largest cybercrimes related to identity theft. Equifax discovered the breach at the end of July, but did not disclose it to the public until September 2017. In a settlement with the United States Federal Trade Commission, Equifax offered affected users settlement funds and free credit monitoring. In February 2020, the United States government indicted members of China's People's Liberation Army for hacking into Equifax and plundering sensitive data as part of a massive heist that included stealing trade secrets, although the Chinese Communist Party denied these claims. Okay, so that was a lot to take in. So, private records of many million people were compromised, and it was stolen from the American credit bureau Equifax. Okay, so let's we're going to be editing a file while we're working through this exercise over here, and if you want to take a look at the file, I'm going to link it in the chat below. So we're going to be answering these questions right here. So what happened? When was the hack discovered? How long do we think the hackers were operating before the hack was discovered? Who was the target of the hack? How was the target initially compromised? What other hacking methods were employed? What was the impact of the hack? Was the hacker identified? How confident are we of attribution? Was the hacker punished? If so, how? What is this hacker doing now? Did they engage in other known hacks? What was the response to the hack? What makes this hack famous? And what lessons were learned from this hack? So there's a bunch of different questions. So what happened? Millions of data, users' data was breached and stolen from the American Credit Bureau. How do you spell that? Equifax. Okay, so I think that is Credit Bureau Equifax, and I guess we need to keep track of this right here, May and July of 2017. Okay, so we're going to Equifax in May and July. In May and July 2017. When was the hack discovered? I guess it was also discovered at this time over here. And how long do we think hackers were operating before the hack was discovered? Okay, so we could look inside of the article over here, but it could take a bit of time to find this. But so we're going to be asking the chatbots over here. So we're going to ask the chatbots, in the Equifax hack of 2017, how long do we think the hackers were in the system before they were discovered? And we're going to send this to the two chatbots. Okay, so Claude over here says, initial access. The hackers first gained access to Equifax's systems May 13th, 2017. Okay, and for ChatGPT, it says, it doesn't specify a date. It just says that they were in Equifax's I don't like this song. I'm gonna switch it. Okay. So the hackers were in Equifax's system for a considerable amount of time before they were discovered. So considerable amount of time. So there's no date attached to this, but it says that they initially accessed the system in mid-May 2017. So mid-May 2017, May 13th, 2017. So the consensus among these chatbots is mid-May 2017. So let's use that as the answer. Mid-May 2017, and it was discovered when? The breach was discovered on July 29th. So let's see. So that's a month and a half. That's a month and a half. So that's 6 weeks. So our answer is going to be 6 weeks. Okay, and this is according to our, and this is according to the ChatGPT and also Claude. So I'm just going to, Claude with an, is it Claude with an E? Claude Sonnet, okay, so that's Claude with an E. The next question is, who was the target of the hack? The target of the hack was the Equifax Credit Bureau. How do you Bureau. Spelling is not my strong suit. Okay. So how was the target initially compromised? Whatever hacking methods were employed. So I heard that there was a very not so cool method through which the Equifax, I think it was Apache Struts. It was some sort of Apache product that had a vulnerability in it. But if we were to go over to here, the Wikipedia article, and we were to look for Apache, right, okay. So this was the way in. So a key security patch for Apache Struts was released on March 7th, 2017 after a security exploit was found, and all users of the framework were urged to update immediately. Security experts found an unknown hacking group trying to find websites that had failed to update Struts as early as March 10th, 2017. So this particular technology, Apache Struts, it's an application framework for developing. Okay, Notes by Nisha says yes, Equifax failed to patch. Well, this is how they got compromised. Yeah, so Equifax was using this particular framework for developing their Java web application. So they were compromised because they failed to patch their systems in time. So the security patch was released on March 7th. So the problem with releasing big patches like this is that hackers are going to, well, I'm saying hackers as if, hackers is a bad word. Criminal hackers are going to try to discover servers where these technologies have not been patched, and then they're going to take advantage of that. So we can say they got in through Apache Struts. So this is the answer. A exploit for Apache Struts was used to gain access. I guess we can say because Equifax did not patch their deployment of Apache Struts in time, an exploit for Apache Struts was used to gain access. But so the question is, how long did they have? So the hackers were operating since mid-May 2017, but Apache Struts, the patch was released on May 7th, I think. Let me take a look. So March 7th. So it was a few months. So it's March, April, May. So that's about 2 months that this security patch was available, and they didn't patch within those 2 months. So that's why they were able to. That's why the hackers were able to get access. So I'm going to add the comment. The organization had 2 months to patch their software, but failed to do so. Okay, so that's how the target was initially compromised. What other hacking methods were employed? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT if there are other methods employed in the Equifax hack. So, were there other hacking techniques employed in the Equifax hack aside from the vulnerability in Apache struts? Okay. Okay, so yes, while the entry point for the Equifax hack was indeed the vulnerability in Apache struts, the attackers employed several other techniques and tactics once they gained access to the system. Here are some of the additional moves used. So, to all of you offensive security experts out there, well, offensive security experts and students, this might be interesting. So, lateral movement after gaining access, the hackers moved laterally within Equifax's networks to access different systems and databases. Privilege escalation, the attackers escalated privileges. Savenge is now a HackerFrog. Welcome to the crew, Savenge. Let us greet you with another one of our redeems. Let's call this one go to hack. So let's go to hack.
Mr. Hat, may I please be excused from class?
Well, Kyle,
Yes.
you hear me? You go to
Hack.
You go to
Hack.
You
Have a great day. Have a great day, Savenge. Okay, so privilege escalation. The attackers escalated their privileges within the network to gain higher levels of access. So, I mean, the problem here is that they don't really say how they did lateral movement or how they did privilege escalation. So I'm not sure if we can really trust the answer from the chatbots over here. But attackers employed several additional hacking techniques: credential harvesting and escalation. Okay. Lateral movement. Okay. Data exfiltration. So they must have. Well, I mean, they must have used some method to exfiltrate the data. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gotten the data. So I guess this is all kind of obvious, but there are no clear details as to which techniques were employed. So I guess for the answer, I'm just going to say other methods were used for lateral movement, privilege escalation, and data exfiltration, but we are not sure what those methods were specifically. Okay, the next question is, what was the impact of the hack? Well, the impact of the hack we can see at the top over here. So information on almost. So let me get rid of this. So private records of, I guess I'm just going to copy this. So private records of 147 million Americans, 15 million British citizens, and 19,000 Canadian citizens. So this is credit information, credit information about these users. So this was a really big thing. So I'm going to copy this and paste it into our document. And I'm going to say that we got this from Wikipedia. Okay, this is another good question here. Was the hacker identified? How confident are we of attribution? So it said in the Wikipedia article that 3 years later, in 2020, the United States government indicted members of China's People's Liberation Army for hacking into Equifax. The question is how do they know? So the likelihood that this attribution is correct is, well, we're not completely sure. We're going to have to do a little more digging. So is there something for perpetrators? Okay. So the United States Department of Justice announced on February 10th, 2020 that they indicted 4 members of China's military on 9 charges related to the hack, though there have been no additional evidence that China has since used the data from the hack. The Chinese government denied the 4 accused had any involvement with the hack. Okay, so let me ask the chatbots. Do we know who the hackers were? Do we know, as far as the Equifax 2017 hack, do we know who did it? How confident are we that they did it? Okay, and we'll send that. Okay, there have been no definitive public attribution. However, there have been some developments in theories. Chinese military connection. Okay, this is talking about the same thing that the Wikipedia article said. Confidence level. U.S. officials expressed high confidence in the attribution based on forensics evidence and intelligence. However, as often the case with cybersecurity incidents, absolute certainty is difficult to achieve. Lack of public evidence. So while U.S. officials claim to have strong evidence, much of it has not been made public due to the sensitive nature of intelligence sources and methods. Okay, so that's from the Claude. That's from the Claude chatbot. ChatGPT says the U.S. Department of Justice attributed the 2017 Equifax hack to 4 members of the Chinese military, specifically the People's Liberation Army. Okay, so this seems to be the common thread. So let's go over to and answer this question. So the American government attributed the hacks to 4 members of the Chinese, what is it called? The Chinese People's Liberation Army. People's Liberation Army. They said they were fairly confident of this due to forensics investigation. Okay, so was this hacker punished? If so, how? So I'm pretty sure that the hackers weren't punished in this case, but we can ask just to make sure. Were the hackers in this case punished? Send this off. Okay, so let's see. The 4 members of the Chinese military indicted for the Equifax hack have not been apprehended or punished. They are not in U.S. custody and likely to face trial in the United States, given that China does not have an extradition treaty with the U.S. and is denied involvement in the hack. So it says here that they indicted in February 2020. The individuals were named and charged with the crimes. Despite the indictments, none of the accused individuals have been arrested. This is primarily because they are believed to be in China, which does not have an extradition treaty with the US. The indictments are largely symbolic, and it's unlikely that China would hand over military personnel to the US for prosecution. So diplomatic consequences, while not direct punishment, the indictments contributed to increased tensions between the US and China. Okay, so let's include that in our answer. So the hackers were not punished, but the indictments caused increased tension between America and China. Okay, and what is this hacker doing now? Did they engage in other known hacks? We do not know. What was the response to this hack? Okay, so the response, we can probably find it in the Wikipedia article. Aftermath. Okay, so the initial disclosure, Equifax expanded the number of records that they discovered were assessed. In both October 2017 and March 2018, Equifax reported that an additional 2.5 and 2.4 million American consumer records were accessed, respectively, bringing the total to 147.9 million. Okay, so security experts expected that the lucrative private data from the breach would be turned around and sold on black markets and the dark web. Though as of May 2021, there have been no sign of any sale of this data. Because the data did not immediately show up in the first 17 months following the breach, security experts theorized that either the hackers behind the breach were waiting for a significant amount of time before selling this information, since it would be too hot to sell that close to the breach, or that nation state was behind the breach and planning on using that data in a non-financial manner, such as for espionage. Okay, so let's take that in. So what was the response to the hack? What was the response to the hack? Well, let's just say that the hackers do not appear to have released the stolen data on any known darknet forums, leading to the theory that they are still waiting to release it, or that it was used by a nation state. Okay. So what makes this hack famous? So that's a big question. So what are the significant what is the significance of this hack? Send. Okay, so we've got the scale of the data breach, the sensitivity of the stolen data, the impact on the credit reporting industry, and consumer trust and awareness. So 147 million individuals were affected, making it one of the largest data breaches in history. Okay, so that's the first. So scale of affected users. So let's make this a bullet point. 147 million users. Okay, and next we're looking at, so the stolen information is valuable for identity theft and financial fraud. Okay, so that's the nature of the data. So potentially used for ID theft, financial fraud. And maybe one more. Public awareness and trust. So the breach significantly eroded public trust in credit reporting agencies, highlighting the broader implications of data security and privacy. It underscored the vulnerabilities associated with storing large volumes of personal data and potential consequences of inadequate security measures. So public awareness and trust. Erosion of trust in credit bureaus. Okay, so the last thing we need to answer here is lessons learned. So, okay, so what lessons can be learned from this hack? I have a feeling that the primary lesson that we have to learn from this hack is timely patch management. Okay, so that's the main lesson to be learned. Timely patch management. They did not patch for 2 months after a major security patch was issued. Okay, so timely patch management, and maybe we'll do one more for this one. Data encryption. So sensitive data should be encrypted both in transit and at rest to protect it from... So was the data not encrypted? Was the data stolen in Equifax not encrypted? So the situation with data encryption in the Equifax hacks was complex. A significant amount of this stolen data was indeed not encrypted. Partial encrypted. Some data was encrypted, but the hackers were able to access decryption keys stored on the same system. Okay. So that's another very interesting detail about this hack that we should note. Data encryption. Most of the data was not encrypted or encrypted, but the keys were on the same system. Okay. All right. So this is the entirety of the file we created for this particular hack, Equifax.md. I'm going to commit these changes, and I will leave a link for everybody who wants to take a look at what we found today. We're going to do one more, and this one is probably going to be quicker than the last one because I don't want to go too late with this particular exercise. And we're going to be talking about the blaster worm. So the blaster worm, this was a very interesting hack that happened in the early 2000s. Let me start editing this file, and I will leave a link to this file as well to everybody in chat. Okay, so let's look at the Wikipedia file, right? The Wikipedia article for this particular hack. It's the blaster worm, 2003 Windows computer worm. Okay, so let's read the blurb for this. Blaster, also known as Lovesan, or MS Blast, was a computer worm that spread on computers running operating systems Windows XP and Windows 2000. Wow, those operating systems really take me back. During August 2003. The worm was first noticed and started spreading on August 11, 2003. The rate that it spread increased until the number of infections peaked on August 13, 2003, Once a network, such as the company or university, was infected, it spread more quickly within the network because firewalls typically did not prevent internal machines from using a certain port. Filtering by ISPs and widespread publicity about the worm curbed the spread of Blaster. In September 2003, Jeffrey Lee Parson, an 18-year-old from Hopkins, Minnesota, was indicted for creating the B variant of the Blaster worm. He admitted responsibility and was sentenced to an 18-month prison term in January 2005. The author of the original A variant remains unknown. Okay, so this was a big hack. I guess you can just say that it was a virus. It was a computer worm. So let's take in these details right here. Okay, so what happened? A computer worm, self-replicating virus, was released in, what was it? August 2003. 2003, affecting computers using Windows XP and Windows 2000. Okay, so when was the hack discovered? So the worm was first noticed and started spreading on August 11th, 2003, and infections peaked on August 13th, 2003. Okay, so let's copy this over to our file. And we will note that this is from Wikipedia. So how long do we think the hackers were operating before the hack was discovered? So it was discovered, let's ask the chatbots. So I'm going to switch over to, okay, let's ask the chatbots. So how long, okay, so we need to change topic. Regarding the Blaster worm of 2003, how long do we think the worm was spreading before it was detected? Okay, so it was first identified on August 11th, 2003, and a patch had been released by Microsoft on July 16th, 2003. So how long is that? So between August... Wait, what? Oh, so the security patch was released by Microsoft first, and then the worm was developed. Interesting. So the Blaster worm is believed to have been first released on August 11th, 2003. So the worm was detected and publicly reported very quickly within hours of its release. Okay, so let's report that. So August 2003, within hours of being released. So very quickly. Okay, who was the target of the hack? There was no specific targets. Well, were there specific targets in the attack? Okay, let's ask this question. Were there specific targets in the Blaster worm attack? Okay, so it was not designed with specific targets in mind. It was created to spread widely and as quickly as possible across the internet. Indiscriminate spread. Okay. Windows vulnerability. So let's go back. There were no specific targets in the attack. It was meant to spread indiscriminately. Is that how you... No. Is that how you spell it? Okay. Well, if it's spelled wrong, I apologize. Okay. How was the target initially compromised? So... I guess we should really ask, how does the blaster worm work? And how do people get infected? So it might be, the details might be in here. The additional blaster was created after security researchers from a Chinese group, Xfocus, reverse engineered the original Microsoft patch that allowed for execution of the attack. The worm spreads by exploiting a buffer overflow discovered by the Polish Security Research Group, last stage of Delirium, and the DCOM RPC service on the affected operating systems, for which a patch was released 1 month earlier in MS-03-026, and later in MS-03-039. Okay, so this is a buffer overflow attack in the DCOM RPC service. So the worm takes advantage of a buffer overflow attack in the, what is it? In the DCOM RPC service. Okay, so we should note that the vulnerability was patched a few months before this worm was deployed. Okay, what was the impact of the hack? Okay, so let's go over to the article. So let's get some numbers. So the number of infected systems is reported at 30,000. 30,000. And I think they said that the number of infections peaked at around this time, so August 12th. The number of infections peaked on August 13th. So let's take a look at the timeline for August 13th. So the number of infected systems is reported at 423,000. So I'm going to copy this number. At its peak, it's reported that this number of systems were infected. Was the hacker identified? How confident are we of attribution? So somebody got arrested. So let's report that. In September 2003, between August and September, this is just a month. Jeffrey Lee Parson, an 18-year-old. Okay, so Jeffrey Lee was indicted for this. So let's use this as the answer. Okay, was the hacker punished? If so, how? We can also copy this. Was sentenced to an 18-month prison term. Jeffrey what? Jeffrey Lee Parson. Okay, so what is this hacker doing now? Did they engage in other known hacks? So let's find out about Jeffrey Lee Parson. So I don't think he has a Wikipedia article about him. So let's ask let's ask. Okay, so one thing that we didn't cover was what happens when you run this worm. So the worm was programmed to start a SYN flood against port 80 of the Windows update.com if the system date is after August 15th and before December 31st and after the 15th day of other months, thereby creating a distributed denial of service attack against the site. Okay, so this creates a DDoS attack against Windows update.com. The damage to Microsoft was minimal as the site targeted was Windows update.com rather than the Windows update.microsoft.com, to which the former was redirected. Microsoft temporarily shut down the targeted site to minimize potential effects of the worm. The worm's executable, msblast.ext, contains two messages. The first reads, "I just want to say, love you, son." This message gave the worm an alternative name of Love Son. The second reads, "Bill Gates, why do you make this possible? Stop making money and fix your software." This message was to Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft and the target of the worm. The worm also creates the following registry entry that is launched every time Windows starts. So this right here, and it's going to run the worm executable each time the Windows system starts. Okay, so let's answer the questions. What is this hacker doing now? Jeffrey Lee Parson. Let's ask the chatbots and see if they know what happened to him. What happened to the hacker Jeffrey Lee Parson after he served his prison sentence? He served his prison sentence. Okay. Sentence. Question mark. Okay. Send this off. Okay, so ChatGPT is not letting me know, but let's ask. So Claude doesn't have a limit, so let's take a look. After serving his prison sentence for his role in creating the variant worm, there's limited information about Jeffrey Lee Parsons' life. Here's what we know. So he would have been released sometime in 2006, assuming he served his full sentence. As part of his sentence, he was prohibited from using the internet or computers for 3 years. Since his release, Parson has maintained a very low public profile. There are no widely reported public statements or appearances by him. Okay, so speculation. Some cybersecurity professionals have speculated that individuals with backgrounds like Parsons sometimes find legitimate work in the IT or cybersecurity fields, but there's no confirmed information about this in Parsons' case. So that leads us to conclude we do not know. What was the response to this hack? Well, they released a patch for this particular worm. So let's take a look at how quickly they created the patch for the worm. Oh, you know what? This is interesting. A helpful worm, Welchia, appears on the internet, and this worm goes out onto the internet and infects other computers in order to delete viruses from infected machines. So let's take a quick look at this. So it's a computer worm that exploits a vulnerability in the remote. Okay, so similar to the Blaster worm, however, unlike Blaster, it first searches for and deletes Blaster if it exists, and then tries to download and install security patches from Microsoft that would prevent further infection by Blaster. So it is classified as a helpful worm. So Welchia was successful in deleting Blaster, but Microsoft claimed that it was not always successful in applying their security patch. So this is a very interesting aspect of this particular virus because somebody created this worm to combat it. All right, so we'll take note of this in later on in the article. So what was the response to the hack? Well, Windows created. What was the response to the hack? Let's get a concise answer. So I'm going to switch over from the GPT model, and I'm going to switch over to Gemini. So Gemini, this one over here. Okay, so we're talking about the blaster worm. Regarding the blaster worm, what was the question? What was the response to the release of the worm? They're thinking. Okay, so the release of the blaster worm triggered a swift and multifaceted response. Microsoft released a patch and a removal tool, and security researchers released an analysis and detection. So a lot of antivirus software at the time would have created a signature for blaster, and it would have been added to the list of viruses that your antivirus detects. So Microsoft released a patch release and a removal tool. Okay, so let's note that down. Microsoft released a security patch and removal tool for this worm. Antivirus. Companies created signatures for the virus to flag it on infected systems if they ran antivirus. Okay, what makes this hack famous? So this was this affected a lot of computers at the time, but let's ask in particular why this is a famous hack. Why is this hack famous? Okay, so widespread effect, widespread impact. Infected hundreds of thousands of computers. All right. Widespread impact. 423,000 computers affected as well. So exploit of known vulnerability. So the worm exploited a vulnerability in Microsoft's DCOM service for which a patch had already been released. This highlighted the importance of timely software updates and risks of neglecting security patches. So by the time this worm was released and spread online, if you were patching your Windows systems regularly, and in those days it wasn't an automatic process, so you actually had to go out of your way to patch your Windows system back in those days. But it went to show that if you were not patching your Windows on a regular basis, then you were vulnerable to these kind of attacks. So this is exploit of known vulnerability. And we can note that patch was available already when this worm started spreading. Okay, so one thing you'll notice in these really big hacks that affect a lot of computers across the internet is that they all take advantage of systems that are not patched. It's not usually the case that these big hacks are using unknown vulnerabilities. They're usually using known vulnerabilities, but that have not been patched. That's the problem. Okay, and let's take one more thing that makes this. So the worm contained a hidden message directed at Bill Gates, then chairman of Microsoft, adding to the notoriety of the incident. Okay, so let's just quickly note that down. Political motive. A message was sent to Bill Gates in the code, in the execution of the virus. Okay, and lessons learned. Lessons learned, I guess, patch management. Patch your systems, and update your Windows in a timely manner. Okay, and what else? What lessons can be learned from the plasterworm incident? So I guess a lot of the same lessons come from these kind of incidents. So I guess the first one is patch management, and I guess backups are essential. Backups are essential. Efficient patch management. Collaboration is key. Public awareness campaigns. I guess public awareness campaigns is a really good lesson learned. Public awareness campaigns. Let the public know that there's a big bad virus over there, and they should be patching, they should be updating their Windows OS. Okay. All right, so I think that's it for today's stream. Thank you very much for joining us. When we're learning about hacking history. If you want to take a look at what we learned about Blaster, I've left the link in the chat for everybody. And we're going to be ending off our stream very soon, except that let me say that we're going to be streaming again on Friday. So Friday, July 19th rather, at 8 p.m. PST. That's going to be nighttime after dinner time. And we're going to be doing some free hacking. We're going to be doing TryHackMe's Tom Ghost Room. So if you don't have an account over at tryhackme.com, let me grab that link. tryhackme.com. You can join in for free as long as you have an account over at tryhackme.com. And it's a great website for learning about cybersecurity. I forgot that we were supposed to include this in our article about the blaster worm. So let me edit this really quick. So what makes this hack famous? So I'm going to include the helpful worm, and with this name. Helpful worm was created to help users patch, remove the virus and patch their systems. Okay, so I'm going to save this out again. But yeah, on Friday, July 19th, we're going to be doing the Tom Ghost Room, and then as the secondary topic, we're going to talk about the about hacker development. We're going to be talking about the education game that we were talking about last Friday. So last Friday we started talking about creating an educational game using a popular game development engine called RenPy, and this is going to be a stat raising game which teaches users about cybersecurity through friendship. So they learn about different, they go to different cybersecurity classes, and they meet friends who are interested in those cybersecurity disciplines. So maybe there's a friend for Python programming, and there's a friend for web app hacking, and there's a friend for binary exploitation. And you get to raise your various stats by going to classes and by doing other activities like working out or resting at home or watching cybersecurity streaming channels like mine. Who knows? But we're going to be talking about making your character in this proposed game. That's going to be on Friday after we finish off the Try Hack Me Tom Ghost room. So everybody, look forward to that. And if you want to find us, we're on Reddit. So I'll leave the Reddit link for everybody to take a look at. And we're also on YouTube. So over on YouTube, we are at youtube.com/@theshyhat. And we have all sorts of videos over there, including our live, which is happening right now. And if you want to take a look at previous lives, you can go to the live tab over there, and all of our previous live streams are over there for you to peruse, as well as all of our videos. So oftentimes we take the content of our live streams and we cut them into videos. We've been doing a series on Hack the Box. So Hack the Box starting point machines. This is how to get into Hack the Box. We've done about 13 of these, talking about all of these different Hack the Box machines and how to do them. So if you ever wanted to get into Hack the Box, you could definitely take a look at these videos. We also did a big series on all sorts of picoCTF challenges. So if you're interested in getting into picoCTF, you can take a look at all the challenges that we did at picoCTF on the videos page, which I'll provide a link to just for completeness sake. So let's see who else is streaming at the moment. There's a website called infosecstreams.com, which I will link to everybody. I hope you're not overwhelmed by the number of links I'm leaving you. But there are a lot of different InfoSec creators on Twitch and YouTube, and you can keep track of them on this website, InfoSec Streams. So I'm going to take a look at who is streaming what, and we're going to send everybody here to one of these streams. If anybody has a suggestion for who we should raid, who we should send the viewers over to, please let us know in the chat. But there's Golden One, there is DJ Chateau. Let me take a look at what's going on in their streams. Okay, DJ Chateau. We've raided this person before, so maybe we'll raid someone else. Let's raid Golden One. Notes by Nisha says, thank you. Well, thank you very much, Notes by Nisha. I hope you weren't too bored as we were going through our research on the big hacks. But let's see. Let's raid Golden One. If you're on Twitch, please join me in the raid. And before we do that, let's give a good old hack the planet, everybody.
Hack the planet! Hack the planet! Shut up and get it.
Okay, so when you get to Golden One stream, please tell them that the Shy Hat sent you, and we will see you next time.